You're listening to Cottontail's podcast, part of the Silicon Valley Black Project, which produced the documentary film A Place at the Table about the Black pioneers of Silicon Valley, featuring African American professionals, entrepreneurs, technologists, and engineers from the past and present. Today, we're talking to Toni Robinson, formerly a certified public accountant, a controller for several large banking firms, and now a registered financial advisor and author of the Book of Wisdom for Children. So, Toni, how's it going with the book?
The book is done. The book is done. I got it in.
Okay.
And now I'm working on the ebook.
Oh.
Got to get the ebook version.
Wonderful.
And yes, and then I have someone working with me to get my website together.
Uh-huh.
The website is almost done.
Uh-huh.
So then we will then proceed to with the marketing program to get the book out there. So we're moving right along.
I'm telling you. So, I understand that you came here from Panama.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about Panama?
Okay, so I was born in Panama on the Panama Canal Zone. The Panama Canal Zone was the area, I think was a few miles on both sides of the canal that the American government had control over. The American government and the military had control over. And so the Panamanian government did not have sovereignty over that area. My father worked for the Army. He did a lot. He was a jack of all trades, did all kinds of different things. But the last job he did was to be he was a facilitator. He unpacked the GIs when they came in to live on the canal zone, and then he packed them up when they was going back stateside. And so that gave us a lot of little extras because this communication with Americans always had a little bit more. So we got a little bit more. You know, just the crumbs that fell from the U.S. table. And so all my years growing up, I decided that when I got older, I was coming to the United States. So I said I was going to get rich. I'm going to come to the United States to get my share. All that money up there, I'm going to get my share. So I came up and I went to school. My brother lives in Michigan. And I went to Lansing, Michigan, and went to community college in Michigan. I was a foreign student. And so the tuition was $31 an hour, $31 a unit. And let me tell you, that was not easy. Back in that time, that was in 1973. 1973, $31 a unit, and I had to be full-time because I was a full-time student. But, you know, God always opens a way for us, so he opened up a way where I could be a tutor on campus. I couldn't work off campus, so I had to work on campus. And so God opened the way there, and I was able to pay my tuition and so on. So I finished there, and then I caught the first thing smoking out of Michigan. I was done because I come from a country where it is tropical. It is hot, and then you go to live in Michigan, where the refrigerators of the world are, and yes, and the windmill where the wind is generated. And I said I'm going to stay here as long as I need until I get all my papers fixed. I became a permanent resident. I got out of Michigan, came on to California, and went to California State University and finished my degree in accounting. Worked for KPMG for 2.5 years, long enough to get the CPA certificate to put up on my wall. I was done with that because I didn't want to work overtime for the rest of my life. So I got out of there and I went into banking. And most of my positions in my career have been on the controller, as a controller in different companies and banks that I've worked in, and construction companies also. So I did that for a while until about 2012. I had a bout with cancer, and through that, but after that, things were not the same. And so I left corporate America, started working in insurance, worked at Aflac for a couple of years, learned the business, and then started branching out into other areas in insurance. And then in 2017, I met a young man who said, you need to get, you're leaving money on the table. You need to get a license, a TV7 license and a TV66 license, and that way you can be an investment advisor. And I said, oh, he said, I told him, I heard that was a very difficult profession to be in, and I mean, a difficult test to pass, because everybody that I talked to said it was so difficult. He said, oh, no, I did it in 6 weeks. I said, 6 weeks. I said, okay, just tell me what you did. Told me what he did. In 6 weeks, I had my Series 7 certificate. And then he said, okay, another 3 weeks, and you'll get the Series 66, and that'll allow you to handle all investments of every kind. I said, okay, 3 weeks. Went online, 3 weeks, buckled down, got that done. So within a nine-week period, got both of those certificates that everybody told me was going to take me years to do. So I started doing that. So I worked with a quick planning group, and we work together. I'm an independent consultant, independent advisor, but we work together as a group. We share information and so on. So that's what I do now. I also I'm building a network marketing business where we are educating people about how to be in business for themselves. I came to realize that we've learned only one way to make money, and that's to get an education, get a good job, work real hard, and be successful. That's what we've done all our lives. But I learned that a job is the lowest form of making money. The way that you make money is the other way. You stuff in business or investing. And so I started to do that, and with putting a business together. Our goal is to put together an army of young millennials that are entrepreneurs. And so when you are an entrepreneur, you have more to fight for. When you're an entrepreneur, you get more involved, because it's not just about just getting the basics. It's about, preserving your legacy and your future and the future of your children's generation. So the goal is to be able to build that to the point where we no longer have to work for money, but money will continue to work for us, and then we can pursue the passions and the dreams and the goals that we have. I'm also a minister, AME, African Methodist Episcopal Church. My lifetime goal is to bring 1 million souls into the kingdom. That's the ultimate. And so for the rest of my life, that's what I'll be doing. But in the meantime, we're doing what we're doing. We're trying to help people. We want our legacy to be that when we leave here, that more people better off because we were here.
So what I'm hearing is you took your accounting skill. You learned about money from the bottom, from the ground up. Okay. So if if I were a young person, and I have a job, say making $82,500 a year. So what would be your advice to me on how to begin to free myself from financial issues or problems?
The first thing I would say is redeem your free time. Everybody says, "Oh, I'm busy." Well, that's not necessarily true. If you sat down and you did a diagram of the hours of the day, you put the days of the week across the top, and you put the hours of the day down the side, and you mark off every hour that was absolutely necessary for you to do. And I'm not talking about things that you can delegate. I'm talking about things that you have to sleep for you. You have to eat for you. So if you went through that daily schedule and X out all those things that you have to do, you will find that there are a lot of things that you are doing that you do not have to do. So you take some of that spare time and you invest it in the future. The future does not fit comfortably into the present. It never does. If you want to save money, all of a sudden the president demands every penny that you have, and so you have to go to extremes to push yourself to save money. And it's the same thing with time. But anyway, you will get a hold of your time, and let's say that you have about say 10 hours a week, say 10 to 12 hours a week to invest in your future. That would be the first thing, because everybody tells me that they're busy. They're busy watching TV, they're busy on the phone, they're busy on the computer, they're wasting time. So you've got to redeem the time. Secondly, you need a mentor, somebody who is in life where you want to be. Somebody who has gotten there without having to lean on an employer or somebody else. Somebody who has the mindset to teach you so that you can, on your own, use your own initiative and your own creativity to put into an enterprise of your own. You need a part-time business, period. No way around it. Everybody wants to get second job. That second job that keeps you prison. But if you invest that time, you invest the time and you get the knowledge, the mentorship that teaches you. Now we can start to put something together that's going to pay you an ongoing thing. Now the other thing is this: the rich build network. Mm. The rich build network. Zuckerberg is a billionaire because he has a network. Bill Gates is a billionaire because he has a network of clients that use this program. He has a network of companies that he owns. Buffett has network of companies. When it goes, your productivity goes beyond your effort, that's when it gets rich. So for example, a person who is in real estate, a person in real estate doesn't get rich necessarily unless they do. If a person is a real estate agent, they can sell 5 houses and make $100,000, no problem. But if you want to be wealthy in real estate, you get 10 agents and you support them and you teach them everything. You leverage your knowledge and you invest that knowledge in those people and you support them and you help them and they sell 10 houses. And every time they sell a house, you make a little bit of money. Now you get rich because now you're making money not on just your effort, but on the effort of the people that you have helped. So you build your success on the success of other people. Ray Kroc did it with McDonald's. Colonel Sanders did it with Kentucky Fried Chicken. They built the success on the success of other people. So I will teach them how to build, how to develop the model. For example, Uber did exactly that. Mm. The founders of Uber don't drive taxi cabs, but they had the biggest taxi cab company in the world. Why? Because they developed a system where the little guy could turn his liability, which is his automobile, into an asset, an income-producing asset. And as a result of that, he could make money, and every time he makes money, Uber makes a little splash. And then he did it with 1,000, and then he did it with 1,000,000. And all around the world, so it's a multi-billion-dollar company. Build your success on the success of other people. J. Paul Getty said, I prefer to have 1% of the effort of 100 people than 100% of my own.
Well, there you go. Networking definitely is the key, obviously. But if you have this 10 hours, what would you invest in that would create an income stream? What?
You would have, what I would do, this is what my wife and I are doing. We are building a network marketing. Oh. That is the easiest way to get into networking. Because the nature of the business is networking.
Yes.
And so what you do is you find one that is well established and you get a mentor, somebody who is successful in that business, and you sit at his or her feet and let them teach you the mindset of an entrepreneur. Most people get into these types of business and never succeed because they don't sit long enough at the feet of their mentors to develop the mindset. If once you have the mindset, You can build a network, and then once you have the network and the money is rolling, you can build anything.
It's true.
But you must get the wisdom that comes from someone who has already succeeded. Most people don't want to do it. They want to make money. They want instant money, instant tea, instant coffee, instant everything. And so when they don't get instant, they quit. But the ones that say, okay, teach me, I'm willing to learn.
Right.
Those are the ones that build large networks and become multi-millionaires. Your network determines your net worth.
Yeah.
Your network determines your net worth.
Because the information that you need to become wealthy is in that group. Is there. The information is there, isn't it? But Toni, you talked about something else. You touched on it, and that was wisdom.
Yes.
Tell me a bit about how you feel about wisdom and who should become wise.
When I was about 32, I was reading my Bible, and I stumbled on the book of James, first chapter. He should believe and not doubt, and it will be given. I stopped right there. I got on my knees. I said, Lord, according to your word here, you said that if I lack wisdom, I should ask you. I should believe. When I ask you, I should believe that you're going to give me right away, and I should not doubt. So I'm asking you right now to give me wisdom in the name of Jesus. Amen. I got up from there and said, I am wise. And I said I am wise just to flush away any doubt that would crawl into my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point on, I've always believed that I am wise. Now, most people, when I ask them, in church, I teach Sunday school, and I say, how many of you believe you're wise? And nobody raises their hand. Because, you see, most people think that if you claim to be wise, you're being arrogant. But that's not true. That is not true. But if you think that way, then you will always deny the wisdom that you have. I said, now how many of you have ever asked God for wisdom? Everybody raised their hand. So I said, now you have violated that scripture. If you ask God for wisdom, you should have believed that He gave it to you right away and then not doubt. But you're telling me now that you are doubting what you asked for. So I said, I'm not going to be that way. I'm going to be wise. And so as a result of that prayer, I got a thirst for wisdom. So everything having to do with wisdom, anything, any wise thing anybody said, I was listening. And then I attended a seminar, and in this seminar, the speaker said, her father was a colonel in the army, and so the father always taught them character building principles. And she talked about principles. And she said, anything can be learned if you learn the principles by which it functions. I said, oh, so that means that if I learn the principles of wisdom, I'll be wise. And this character building concept are principles of wisdom. I said, okay, so I want to learn these. And when I have my children, as soon as they can speak, I'm teaching them. So I started out with that thought, and I started reading and learning principles of wisdom. And then we had twin girls. The girls got here, they got here. I was 38 when we got here. I started my own journey at 32. 38, girls got here. By about 41, about 3 years later, I heard my girls, the Lion King was the big show for the children. And the children had watched it probably 40 times, I don't know. But I listened to them, and they were saying verbatim every word that the characters said. And I said, oh, it's time. So then I had 10 principles I started to teach them. And I started just using a call and repeat situation. I say, wisdom is knowing what to do, and then repeat it, doing when it's supposed to do it, and knowing what not to do, and not doing it. And so back and forth it would go. Every night they wanted me to read them a story. So before I read them a story, we did call and repeat with the principles. And so at the age of 3 and 4, they knew what was wisdom, they knew what was knowledge, understanding, transparency, persistence, perseverance, these kinds of words. Now, they could spout them like little parrots, but they didn't know what they meant.
Yes.
But as they grew, we started to connect the principles to life. Now, you see that? What principle was at work here? Oh, yes, that was the principle of persistence. Okay. what was this that was violating? So as we spent time together, I drive around in the car, I had nothing to do. They were a captive audience, so I drilled them, and back and forth and back and forth. And my objective is for them to embrace wisdom as their way of life. And I'm happy to say that they have done exactly that. And my wife said, okay, well, you should put the principles in the book. I said, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, well, you can self-publish the book. So I self-published the book. And I went to the book, the publishers, and they said, oh, man, you can't just do 10 pages. We need 100 pages. So I said, okay, what I did is I put a principle on each page. And the idea was that the book was supposed to be such that they could tear out the page. Once the principle was mastered, the pages were the form of a certificate. And so when they mastered the principle, then the parent would sign it and put it up on the wall. Because the idea is to make wisdom so important in the household that the children would learn to cherish it as part of their thinking. I didn't do all the things that I said I was going to do, but the concept stuck. And now my girls are going to be 28 this year, and if you sit down and talk to them, you see the results of that. Yeah, wow, really.
They are beyond their years, I'm sure. Beyond the, well, but because they started at a very young age, and accepted it. They had nothing to compare it with, so they accepted it whole. How lucky for them! How lucky for them!
I believe that the parents have a window of about 5 years.
Yes.
Where they can really instill the thinking and the principles and so on in the children. And as the children grow up, they have a filter. Without the words, they don't have a filter.
Right.
But if they have these principles in their mind, then when they are supposed to make judgment calls, they have a filter.
Mm-hmm. Fabulous. So I'm sure you wanted to share this skill of yours with the world. So you wrote a book.
Yes.
And you're going to be marketing that book. So what is your network around this book? What skills have you brought from your other life to make this book a success?
Okay, first of all, the name of the book is A Child's Guide to Wisdom.
Okay.
Child's Guide to Wisdom. And one of the things that I learned, readers are readers. When I first started, they said, you need to read 15 minutes out of a positive mental attitude book every day. It should be like a multivitamin you pop in your mouth every month. Just read, because it helps you to develop the right mindset. I said, when I graduated from college, I said, when I graduate from college, I'm not reading another book. Yeah, I'm not reading any more books. I'm tired of reading. And so my mentor said, you need to start reading 15 minutes every day out of positive mentality. So I told him, well, I'm not reading any more books. He said, well, you want to make this money, right? So you got to read. I said, okay, give me the book. So I started reading. A lot of the wisdom that I got from the book influenced the putting together of this book. Because again, every book that I read included principles of success and principles of wisdom that everybody needed to have in order to succeed. So the words that are in here are words that I've gleaned from all the reading that I've done in trying to put my other books.
So you pulled from all of your life experience.
I'm one of 8 children, and I was raised in a very strict home. Of course, my father was a minister, and so he had 5 boys. And I've learned that when you put 2 boys together, the stupid factor increases exponentially. So when you have 5, you got a problem. So my father was a very strict disciplinarian and so on. So the problem, the downside of that is you don't build a lot of emotional connections with the children if you're always a disciplinarian. Now, he was a good man. I respected him for his relationship for his faithfulness to my mother, and he was a provider and all those things. And he was a good, strong Christian. But I said, I won't be that like my father in terms of the relationship building.
Yes.
And I swore up and down that my children would never say that their daddy never told them that he loved them. And so to this day, every time I see my children, I'm always hugging them and I'm always telling them how I love them. And so I'm 180 degrees different from my father. So I learned that, and the other thing is, raising our children was one of the most difficult things that my wife and I have done. Because we both come from different backgrounds. And as a result, I've seen one way to do it, and she's seen another way to do it, and bringing the two together was not easy. Having the principles allowed us to be able to correct and instruct. Because we could always ask them about the principle and then ask them if they were applying the principle or if they were violating the principle. It was a beautiful thing.
You had a built-in guardrail for bad behavior from the time that they were little girls, because you'd already given them this whole set of rules. Then they have to take responsibility for everything. That's amazing. And that is the hardest thing for a parent to do, is for that child to take responsibility. Well, Toni, if you could go back to Panama and talk to a young Toni Robinson, what would you tell him? How would you advise him?
Growing up, some people say, my parents always told me, you can do anything. You can do anything. Well, my parents didn't tell me that. Mm-hmm. And it's not because they didn't believe that. They never heard those kinds of things for themselves. Their parents, they were just regular people. They didn't get that level of wisdom. And so, a lot of people who are achieved in the United States, they always say, my parents always told me you can do anything. Well, that's where I would start. I would tell that boy, you can achieve anything. Anything that you desire, you can achieve. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to take the restrictions off your mind, and I want you to dream. Think of the biggest thing that you would like to achieve. Once you've dreamed it, I want you to write it down. Say, this is what I am going to do. Make up your mind. And once you've made up your mind that this is what you're going to do, then God will He will send you the people to give you the pieces to put together so that you can achieve whatever it is. Because the big vision comes from God. It doesn't come from you. It comes from God. So if you can dream big and embrace that vision, not say to yourself, oh, I don't know, I can't do this, I can't do that. You stop looking at what you can't do and focus on what you can do. Anything is possible. God will give you what you need to achieve anything that your mind and heart can conceive.
I absolutely agree, and that is why I met your wife in Hawaii, so that I would have a chance to talk with you. That's fabulous, Toni. Thank you so much for this interview. I appreciate your time, and I'm hoping that you have incredible success with your book. I think it is something that's sorely needed. Are there instructions to parents to tell them to start this book at a certain age and how to talk with their child going forward when they go through this book? Are you giving those kinds of instructions along with the book?
They are in the book. I have a section that says how to use this book.
Oh, good. Thank you, Toni, for your insight and for sharing your story. And thank you for listening.